Okay, let's get started here. U-sub day 2. All it does is just add a little extra thing here, but I really think that this is not that difficult, what we're adding in. If anything, it might make it even a little bit easier with evaluating integrals. Okay, so I'm just going to go through and do the first one for you, just kind of walk you through it. So, for the first one, we're going to evaluate from 0 to 1. So the difference is at the very end of the problem, I need a number answer. So, if I'm looking at this integral, there's no formula for this, so I need to do a U-sub to make it into a formula. So what's my U going to be? U equals x squared plus 1. So du is equal to 2x dx. Now, we're skipping that step of d over dx. We've accepted that that's a skipped step. Okay, so, but I don't see a 2x dx over here, so what can I do with that 2? So 1/2 du equals x dx. Now, I'm not going to write my bounds yet, but how can I replace this now? 1/2 integrate from, well, ignore that part, I just said I was going to ignore it. U to the third du. Okay, now, I'm not allowed to put 0 to 1 right now, because 0 to 1 was in X land. We're in U land right now, so I can't put 0 to 1. So I have to change my bounds. What's nice about changing my bounds is I don't need to change back. I can now just integrate in terms of U and use all U's, which is super nice for us. Okay? So if I plug in a 1, what am I going to get if I plug in a 1? So 1 squared plus 1 is 2. So my upper bound changes into a 2. When I plug in a 0, so U of 0, my lower bound changes into a 0 squared plus 1, which is a 1. And that is the only difference for today. But the convenient part is we do not need to go back into x's. We do not need to go back into x's. So what's the antiderivative here of u cubed? 1/4, so I'm going to get 1/2, 1/4 u to the, evaluate it from 1 to 2. I'm going to do just a little bit of cleaning up here. I'm going to call this a 1/8 in front. U to the 4th, from 1 to 2. Leave this 1/8 off to the side. So if I plug in a 2, I'm going to get 2 to the 4th minus 1 to the 4th. What is 2 to the 4th? Wow. Good job, class. That was an overwhelming 16. Thank you. 16. What's 1 to the 4th? You didn't do that on purpose. No, it wasn't. Alright, and then what's our final answer going to end up being here? 15/8. How could you check your answer if you're at home? You can just use a calculator. Now if you're wrong, how can you see what the steps are? Yeah, the integration calculator with steps. Okay? I'm telling you that not so that you can abuse your power of having it, but it's a really helpful tool. Yes, not during the test. Hey, if AP would allow you to have Chromebooks during the AP exam, I would let you do it here.
I wouldn't come to class have the thing.
Yeah, pretty much the entire second semester would be. I know, that's what I'm saying. Pretty much the entire second semester would just be Chromebook. I wouldn't need to teach you anything. Just a couple formulas here and there, and you'd be good. Okay, do you want to go ahead and try number 2 on your own now? Go for it. Make sure you change your bounds. That's something that people forget. They forget to change their bounds. Those people. Alright, you should be talking. You should be working on this. I'm going to pause the video. Alright, you should have gotten this as your answer. So I'll walk you through it real quick again. For you video viewers, you set u equal to x cubed plus 8. Then solve for your du. Make sure that your function dx is there, so we have x squared dx is on the right-hand side. Replace that with a 1/3 du. Upper bound, when we get a 4 up here, gives us a 72. Plug in a -2 down here, we get a 0. And then it gets rewritten this way, and you just do the problem. And as I just told the class here, typically you're not going to do this by hand with these gigantic numbers. Okay, not with like 72 cubed. Like maybe 16 cubed, sure, but not like 72 cubed. All right. Any question on this one? Okay, so now let's take like a word problem. It's like barely a word problem, barely classifies as it, but it's got words, so it's a word problem. And write this out as a problem that we should know how to do. So I need a person that can read loud and proud. Neelish is refusing to make eye contact, so it'll be Neelish. Neelish, can you please read number 3 for us? It's a very, very difficult word problem to read.
Yeah. Find the area of the region bounded by y equals sin x plus cosine 2x. The x-axis has a vertical line x equals 0 and x equals pi.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. I don't know how you read it. That was great. Oh, good. So all we're doing here is this just means finding the area just means integrate that from that to that. That's all we're doing. There'll be a time where we have to integrate between two different functions, but for right now, we're just keep it basic. We're going to integrate this sine of x plus cosine of 2x from 0 to, and of course you need your dx. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go through this one kind of on the quicker side of things because it is kind of quick. This one is going to involve just a baby U-sub. I usually don't show work for baby U-sub. So just get used to it. Alright? So what's the antiderivative of sine of x? Negative cosine x. This is a baby U-sub right here. So this is going to give me a 1/2 in front. Okay, because if I were to set this u equals 2x, you would get du equals 2dx. Throw the 2 over. Okay, so this is going to give me a 1/2. And then what's the antiderivative of cosine? Positive sign. So plus 1/2 sine 2x. Okay, that one's a baby U-sub that we should be able to do in our heads. You need to go off to the side and show you all this work. I can. Just takes one person to say yes. Nobody has said yes so far. Anyone want me to show you that baby U-sub, all the work?
Do it.
Alright. I'll do it in hot pink. There we go. Hey, Namer, thank you so much for being the voice of some people. Okay, so for antiderivative of cosine 2x, just do U-sub, so baby U-sub, you're going to get 1/2 du equals dx, so you're going to get 1/2 cosine of u du. Antiderivative of cosine u is sine u plus c, if I'm actually just doing this problem correctly. And then the reason I'm going to change this back is because since I have this guy's already in terms of x, I might as well just keep this one in terms of x too. That way I don't need to change one set of bounds and then not the other. Could you do 2 different problems and add them together? Yeah. But I'm just trying to keep this one simple in terms of let's have the same variables with the same bounds. Okay, so that's why I put the 2x back in. Did not need to change the bounds, which is always an option, by the way. Like on this first problem, if you want to change that u back into x squared plus 1 to the 4th, you can. Just make sure your bounds are from 0 to 1 if you want to go back to x's. Question?
Why isn't plus c part of it? Answer the last one.
Because I didn't really finish it. That's why. Because I really should be integrating this from wrong color. I have lots of things I do are unprofessional, so that's not going to offend me whatsoever. I'm not naming them on video. Okay, we're going to get from 0 to pi. Here we go. We're going to plug in a pi. Negative cosine of pi. Oh no, I'm relying on you to know math. I'm sorry, trig. Thank you. plus, what's cosine of 2 pi? No, he might be humanity. 0! So it's plus 1/2 times cosine, or sorry, sine of 2 pi is 0. Did I say cosine? Alright. Well, we're going to watch the video now to see what I really said. I probably did say cosine. Okay, sorry. If I plug in a pi into here, I get sine of 2 pi, which is 0. So 1/2 times 0 is 0. Minus, let's plug in a 0 now. Negative cosine of 0 is -1. Plus, plug in a 0, I get sine of 2 times 0, which is 0. What is sine of 0? So you're going to get 1 minus a -1. 1 plus 1, which is 2. Okay, I'm sure you're wondering to yourself, alright, how could this be difficult with multiple choice? I'm sure you're wondering that right now. Oh, here's like an AP example. You'll be dead by May? That's not good. Okay, so this is telling us, using the substitution, u equals 3x plus 1, it's telling us what our u sub is. Which of the following is equivalent? So all we're doing is replacing the 3x plus 1 with a u. So it should become u to the 4th. So which one can we cross out right away? It's definitely not B. Okay, so when we plug that in, what else changes? When we plug in a 3x plus, or u in for this 3x plus 1, what else is going to have to change here in our integral? Why are you going to have a 1/3? 3 dx, you're going to have a 1/3 du equals dx. So now, which one can we get rid of? And what's the other change we have to make with u sub? We have to change the bounds. So what are the new bounds going to be? -2. If you plug in a -1, you plug in a 4, you get 13. So it is definitely not that one. So the answer is... Remember earlier how I said, like, for on your test, there's some questions that you just have to get right. And if you don't get them right, I know that you didn't try. Yeah, this is one of them. If you get this one wrong on our quiz or test coming up, I'm going to know you're just not trying at all. Okay? If you don't get, I'm not saying if you don't get it right now, you need to come get help. You need to get help. If you want to get it wrong, then that means that's a cry for help. Alright, here we go. Differential equations. We've talked very, very briefly about differential equations. I'm going to create my own part B to this question as well. To this. Actually, no, I'm not, because number 6 does that for me. Great. Number 6 does that for me. So let's just real quickly. So, solving the differential equation just means I want a y equals equation. If I'm giving you the derivative, how do we get a y equals equation? Very good. Find the antiderivative. If I give you the derivative, find the antiderivative. Alright? So all I'm asking you to do is integrate this. There is actually like more steps that we're missing out on, but I have a whole unit on differential equations, so I'm going to kind of do this the quickie way. Alright? So I'm going to integrate this. X minus 4 all over x squared minus 8x plus 1 dx. This one doesn't have any bounds. That's so sad. So what do we do here? Can we integrate this right off the bat, or do we need to play with it a little bit? Really, we only know 3 techniques. Okay, it's either a formula, or we need to rearrange it, or we have U-sub. That's really the only 3 things we know, and that really is going to be the only 3 things you're going to know. When I taught BC, there were 14 techniques. You only have to do 3. Wait, could there be a 4th one? 4th one's really easy, though. 5th? Is it 4th? I think we only do 3. I don't think we do algebraic sub, which is easy to do. So what do we do here? Rearranging this one, like what you're asking what it is? Oh, can we? I mean, the only thing I can think of is if you multiply by top and bottom by the square root, like rationalize it. But that's not gonna be nice. We actually have to do a what? A U-sub, and we're praying that. Well, what's our U gonna be? Before I say what we should pray for. Usually a denominator is a good start for what you think U should be, okay? Whatever the more complex function is, it's usually a good start. So x squared minus 8x plus 1. And you're really hoping that an x minus 4 gets spit out from this, because you want to get rid of the x minus 4. If not, you're going to have a bad time. If this is BC, I would say it's totally possible that that stuff could remain on top. But I'm in AB, that stuff is going to go away. Okay? You don't need to worry about that. Okay, so what's du? 2x minus 8 dx. Hey, did I get an x minus 4 out of this?
Yes.
Almost. What am I missing? Divide everything by half, so I'm going to get a half du equals x minus 4 dx. So 1/2. The x minus 4 went away, and I'm left with this u to the negative 1/2. Can I write it like that? Am I okay? Or did I just confuse people? I took the square root, put it on top, made it a negative. Alright, going to Neelish, our expert on the power rule for antiderivatives. Neelish, what is the antiderivative of u to the negative 1/2? I like it. Keep going, Neelish. Oh, don't forget that 1/2 in front. Plus c. Oh my gosh. What's going to happen here? Going to cancel. And now, Jonah, you're my expert on finishing these U-sub problems without bounds. What's the last thing I do here, Jonah? Plug in U. Wow, don't sound so down about it. It's a great thing. We're just finishing up the problem. So we're going to get... Oh, it's sadness that we are done with the problem. No, it's over. Okay? So this is just a general solution. So this is y equals, by the way, because it wants the equation. At this moment in time, we'd only ask you this as a multiple choice, so the y equals already be there, so don't worry about that too much. Like I said, there's a whole unit on this stuff where it gets a little more complex, but not really. Okay, number 6, find the equation. It's the same question, but it has an extra little piece of information here. Just find the equation of this rate, and it passes through this point 2, 7. Okay? So this means that we're just going to have a little bit of an extra step here, and this is going to help us. This is going to help us solve for our c. So this is where it's best not to make this c to the 10th over 2. That's going to be really tough to solve for if you make c to the 10th over 2. Make it plus c. Okay? So the problem we have in front of us here is going to be Find the antiderivative of negative 2x, square root of 8 minus x squared. Namer, what's our first step to solve for this? What is U? Don't think, you should know. Beautiful. Sai, what is du equal to? Very close. And am I ready for a straight substitution now, or do we need to solve that over? I'm good? I'm good? So, Conch, what do I do now? Oh, you weren't here last class. Too bad. What do I do now? Okay. See this negative 2x dx? What do you think happens at negative 2x dx? I don't want to say the word cancel. It substitutes in for what? No, what does negative 2x dx equal? It says it right here. It equals du. So it goes away, it becomes du. I'm sticking with you. I'm not letting you off the hook on this one. What about 8 minus x squared? What happens to that? Yeah, so it becomes... Conch, does this look good? I want to make sure that this is good.
Yeah, it's good.
This is good? Okay. Should I have just done a true-false question with you?
Yeah.
We should do a whole test, true-false. I take the test. I try to get 100, okay? And then you just try to catch my typos.
That sounds fair.
All right, true or false? Did he get this one right?
Finish test that they were all wrong and we had to find why it was wrong.
I've already made all the tests of the year. I actually have a really good work ethic, whether you believe it or not. I finished all of these tests a long time ago. Okay, so Max, what do we do now? Not yet. Integrate first. So what's the antiderivative of root u? I like it. Sorry, Neelish. He's stealing your part, but keep going.
No, I don't mind at all. The 2/3 of the actually really do.
Plus C. Jonah, I come back to you because you're just so happy that you have this part. What's the last step here for this little portion of the problem? You didn't give us a chance to... What's it? Substitute one for what? Jonah, next time you go to prank somebody, you gotta let them believe it for a second. No, I didn't get a chance to. By the time that your words reached my brain, you already said, just kidding. Okay, so this is what y equals, or f of x equals, whatever, doesn't really matter. So, I'm not finished with the problem. Sorry, Jonah, we're not finished with the problem.
Why not?
Because it needs to pass through this point 2, 7. And this is going to help us solve for c. So I need to solve for c. So, in order to solve for c, you have to plug in for an x and y. So what goes in for x? What goes in for y? I'm going to try to color code this for us. So it's going to be 7 equals 2/3 8 minus 2 squared to the 3/2 plus c. And I'm trying to solve for... Let's do it. What is 2 squared? We're going to do lots of mental math here. What is 2 squared? 8 minus 4. 4 to the 3/2. Just said 4. 8. 8 times 3/2. Or did I just say 3/2? 2/3, I meant. So we're going to get 7 equals 16/3 plus c. I just did math right here. We agree that this is right here 16/3. Okay, because this one wants you to find the actual equation and it passes through a point, so you need to solve for c. Can I make this into 21 thirds. So how do I solve for C here? Subtract it, and when I do that, I'm going to get equals. So as a final answer, again, this more or less be like a multiple choice question for the time being, until we actually go through the whole unit differential equations. Final answer is going to be y equals 2/3 8 minus x squared to the 3/2 plus 5/3. Yes.
So how'd you get 16 thirds?
You're going to get 8 minus 4
Right.
to the 3/2, so that means the square root of it is 2. 2 to the third is 8. 8 times 2 is 16 over 3. Last up. Hey, look, the notes weren't too bad today. 26 minutes. I hate how long the notes are. Can I just say that? I hate them. I'm going to keep saying that I hate them and not rewrite them ever.